Good day, grade 12 learners. Welcome to today's accounting lesson. My name is Sifiso Buthelezi. This lesson is brought to you by the Free State Department of Education in collaboration with Pagama Research and Development. Grade 12s, welcome to today's lesson. My name is Sifiso Buthelezi. The topics that we are going to be looking at today will be the management of inventories, the management of tangible assets, as well as cost accounting. Today, grade 12, we are going to be touching in some of the things that you are going to be writing about tomorrow. Tomorrow, remember, you are writing paper 2, June exam. Now, the subtopics we are going to be looking at the inventories, the fixed assets, the production cost statement. Let us look at the goals for today. What are we going to be able to do by the end of the lesson? This is what we expect you learners to know to do after the end of the lesson. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to identify problems with figures in the management of inventories as well as management of tangible assets. That is our first goal. Identify problems that will go together with the figures in the management of inventories as well as management of tangible assets. The second one, we should be able to provide an advice or solutions to the problems we have identified on the first part in the very same topic, management of inventories as well as management of tangible assets. Then we should also be able to prepare production cost statement. Grade 12s, please refer to the lesson we had on the 6th of May. On the 6th of May, remember, we discussed production cost statement at length. We talked about all the basics we need for us to know or to be able to excel in the production cost statement. Please do refer to the lesson we had on the 6th of May. And then again, we should be able to prepare an abridged income statement. This is what we need to know before the end of this lesson. Now, let us look at the term 2 topics for accounting paper 2. Remember, you are writing paper 2, but what are the term 2 topics? These are some of the topics or all the topics that you have done already. If you remember well, you did fixed asset calculations, meaning you were calculating depreciation, so you can expect such. And also, you have already discussed management of fixed assets. We are going to be talking more about management of fixed assets because we have been talking about the calculations of the fixed assets in paper 1. But please, as you prepare for tomorrow's exam, please prepare the calculations of depreciation. Please prepare the management of fixed asset as a topic. Number 2, you need to know the inventory valuations. Remember, this is where we are talking about our FIFO or FIFO. We are talking about our weighted average. We are talking about our specific identification, right? Remember, there are 3 methods of calculating the closing stock. We can calculate our closing stock using FIFO, which is known as first in, first out. We can calculate the value of our closing stock using weighted average. We can calculate the value of closing stock using our specific identification. Now, please do not make a mistake of not knowing those. You need to know how to calculate. But today, we are not going to be doing calculations of all of them. We are going to be selecting where we find some challenges. Right, and then we're moving on. Topic number 3. This is cost accounting. What do we find under cost accounting? Remember, under cost accounting, this is where we find our production cost statement. We find our abridged income statement. We find our break-even points as well as other unit costs calculations. So these are some of the topics. We are also going to be finding ethics, internal control under the topic of cost accounting. Remember, this is also part of what you are going to be writing about tomorrow. And then we have also done, or also some of you may have not done the topic, but it's the topic of term number 2. That is the reconciliations. Now, what are we looking at under the reconciliations now? We are looking at the bank reconciliation statement, the creditors reconciliation statement, the debtors reconciliation statement. So these are some of the statements that you should know under the reconciliations. All of these topics, remember, they are all paper 2 topics, and they are all topics that are supposed to be covered in term number 2. And then, very important, you are going to be tested on ethics and internal control of all the above topics, meaning each topic will be having the internal control, will be having the ethics, meaning there will be internal control of fixed assets, internal control of inventories, internal control of cost accounting, internal control of reconciliations. So please go through what you have been taught. We are going to be looking at some of these items in today's lesson. So you shouldn't be worried. We are going to be covering a lot. Now, let us look at the management of inventories now. We are going to look at specifically under the management of inventories. We have realized that most of the learners, they tend to ignore this easy topic. This is a very easy topic. It is like you are studying theory, theory, theory. So it is so easy to master. Now, let us see if we can be able to master these. Now, this is management of inventories. We are looking at the structure of problem-solving questions. How are our problem-solving questions would look like? Now, this is a table I want us to talk about. A table that has 3 columns. This would normally be for 9 marks maximum or 12 marks maximum. Right, now this one looks at the type of a problem. Remember, one of our objectives, one of our goals for today was for us to know how to identify problems with figures. And after that, we should be able to come up with a solution or an advice to solve the problems. That is what we are doing. But I can tell you now, grade 12s, you cannot be able to identify a problem if you don't know the types of problems to look out for. Now, what am I doing here, grade 12s? I'm trying to coach you to know that if they say identify a problem in a question paper, you will know on which problems are you looking at. So I'm going to give you a wide variety of problems that may occur under the topic inventory valuations or inventories. Now, let us look at the problem number one. The first problem may arise or emanate from closing stock, meaning our stock at the end. We can have a problem here. What could be the possible problem that we may have? We may have a problem that there are only few items remaining. Few items remaining. Now someone will say, why is that a problem? Why do you think there is a problem if you only have three calculators remaining, if you are selling calculators or cell phones remaining? Why could that be a problem? Think about it for a second. Think about it for a second. Right, some of you got it correct. It could be a problem that for the fact that some customers may come and ask and want to demand more than what you have. Some customers may come and ask for more than what you have. If you have three calculators remaining, a customer can come and say, I need 20 calculators. Meaning now you will end up losing customers and you will damage the image of the business. So you need to ensure that you have sufficient, not more than enough, but enough items to sell to any customer who may come and request to buy in bulks. So have the reasonable number. Now, the second problem that may arise under closing stock can be, there could be high number, or it could be their highest compared to other branches or other businesses selling the same product. So there could be high number. Now, what is the problem? What's wrong with having a lot of items just lying around? Remember, the danger here is that they can get damaged, can be damaged. That is number one. Number two, they can be stolen because there are many just lying around there. Number three, we would need to have storage. So there could be high storage fees. So we can pay a lot of money because now we need a place to store this high number of stock. And it needs someone to also guard. So we'll have to hire a security now to look after this goods. So having a lot of goods is a problem. Sometimes they can also become obsolete. What am I saying by the word obsolete? It means now they can be out of a date or out of trend. You may think of the white jeans. Girls don't really wear white jeans anymore because they are out of date. Some products are only used for that particular moment. Like for an example, the latest cell phone compared to the old cell phone. If you will check, most of these shops such as MTN, Vodacom, they would always bring the latest product. So now they can't have a lot of items not being sold because that creates a problem for them. They will end up having to sell them at a below the markup amount. So they will have to sell them at a lower price. Now, let us look at our solutions now. What can I do to ensure that I don't have fewer items left? I would order enough to avoid loss to a business. And then another one, I would ensure that I keep reasonable levels of stock to avoid that there's no theft taking place. How do I keep reasonable? I'll always offer specials if I see that the product is moving too slow. Okay? Now, let us look at the second part of our problems. It may happen that a problem may come from sales compared to the money we have deposited. It may happen that the sales amount is higher than the cash amount deposited. Sometimes we may have sales of 50,000, but the deposits are just 45,000. We ask ourselves, where's the 5,000 now? Hear what I'm saying. Sales can be 50,000, but deposited amount can only be 45,000. So therefore now we are saying there is missing cash. 50,000 minus 45,000 would say 5,000 is missing. Okay? Now, this is also a problem. How do I ensure that this problem doesn't happen or is prevented from happening? I ensure that we check cash before making daily deposit. Meaning I deposit my cash every day or I just check my cash. And then also I can divide duties. How do I divide duties? I'll have someone to deposit, someone to record what is deposited, someone to keep the slips from the deposits, someone to verify those slips. So I'll have different people involved in my cash to ensure that cash is not missing. Also, I can encourage my customers to buy through EFTs or to swipe as they buy. Another problem may emanate from our markup. You'll find that the markup is high or the markup is low. If the markup is too high, it is a problem. It will mean that your goods are too expensive. If your markup is low, it will mean your goods are too cheap. So these must be compared to other branches selling the same product from the very same business, or compare it with the competitors. What would be the solution? If it's too high, you need to reduce it, but do not reduce it to be lower than the competitors or other branches. When it's too low, remember, if something is too low, it is suspicious at the same time. So if something is too low, becomes suspicious, some customers may run away because they would know the market price of that particular item. They will think there's something wrong with the product. So increase the markup to a reasonable percentage, but it shouldn't increase or exceed the price or the markup charged by the competitors. Here's another problem. This is almost similar to what we've done. Selling price being too high or too low. It is too high or too low compared to other businesses selling the very same product or other branches selling the very same product. What do? You may decide to increase it if it's too low or decide to reduce it if it's too high. Great works. I hope you are following here. This is a very easy topic. What you need to know, you need to master the table and then you take it from there. Then we're moving on. Another problem may be the number of sales made by the business. Sales may be too low, may be too high. So depending. If the sales are too low, it's a problem. It means you are not selling enough. You are selling very slow. What do you do now? You can count your stock to check what is in demand so that you can remove the items that are in less demand. Number two, You can have what we call as commission income. Give income to those who are selling more. Those who are not selling more, you don't give them commission. Okay? Those who are selling more, you give them commission. Those who are not selling, you do not give them commission. Commission, what is commission? It's just an extra amount you receive for performing well. Okay, right. Now we look at another one. If the stock is missing, we know how to calculate missing stock. Now, there could be number of units stolen. How will you know? Remember, you take your opening number plus what you have bought, the purchases, minus the returns, minus the drawings or the donation, and then minus what you have sold, minus the closing stock number. So from there, you will see whether you get a 0 or you get an amount. If you get 0, it means nothing is stolen. And then if you get an amount, it will mean that something has been stolen. Now, how do you come up with the solutions to solve this? We say we can install cameras and then we keep portable items in locked cabinets. This is what happens if you go and buy medication at Clicks or at Discount. They would always put the medication in a small cabinet and they put a tie there so that you are not tempted to steal. Now, moving forward to another problem, the stock turnover rate may be too low. If the stock turnover rate is too low, it means that customers are not buying the product. So what do you do now? You need to find ways for you to increase your stock turnover rate. How do you do that? You need to beef up or you need to improve your advertising strategies. What could work for you is that we also advertise. I see most businesses, they advertise on social media. These days it's more effective because most people are now on social media. So if you advertise on social media, you are able to gain more customers. You can also introduce the online shopping. We are going to be talking about that. Some businesses now, if you want to buy their items, you can just simply order them online. If you order them online, then they get delivered to you. Because some people are so busy that they don't get time to go to shops. Now let us look at the next one. The problem may lie also with the stock holding period. If the stock holding period is a little bit higher, then it becomes a problem. Remember, it is like this. Stock turnover rate must increase, stock holding must decrease at all times. Stock turnover rate increase, stock holding decrease. So it should be like that. If that is the case, it means if the stock holding is high, it means customers are not buying your product. So what do? You come up with your marketing strategies such as advertising, online shopping, so many things, sales, you give specials, you reduce the price of certain items, maybe the price is too high. This is why the stock holding is low. So it's high. So that is why now, this are some of the strategies now you have to follow for you to ensure that you get rid of the high stock holding period. Next one, we can also look at the number of orders versus sales. Now, it may happen that people are ordered goods can be 70, but sold goods, this is just an example, can only be 40. Meaning customers are now ordering and not buying. It's a problem for us because we will now be stuck with these items. Now, what are you going to do to solve this type of a problem? You make them follow up on the orders. Customers who are ordering should pay a deposit. If you order somewhere, you order a birthday cake, you would normally do what? Pay a deposit. So that if you are not taking that, they don't completely lose. Also, maybe the problem is with us. We don't order according to the specifications of the customer. So we need to write down whatever the customer is looking for and do just that, so that customers will come and collect their orders. Sometimes a problem may arise from the returns by customers. You'll find that the returns are very high. Meaning, if you see a branch with a higher returns, then that becomes a problem for the business. Right, now, what do you do to solve high returns? You are going to order good quality products. You are going to avoid inferior quality product, because some businesses may be silly and decide to buy cheaper products that are of inferior quality. Then it becomes a problem, because customers will always return. Some, they would buy defects, the products with defects. Now, defects mean the damaged products or products that are not working properly. You can also inspect. You can also inspect the product before selling. What am I saying? If you think, well, at home when they buy a TV or a refrigerator, normally what would they do? They would plug it in to see that is it working or not inside the shop before you can take it home. Maybe we do not do all of that. We can also set up, as a solution, set up a shorter return policy. If you buy a pair of jeans, if you buy jeans or just a shirt, they will tell you that you can only return it maybe in 5 days or in 7 days. Why are they doing that? Because they don't want you to have a chance to use the item and damage it and bring it back once you have used it. Now let's move on. Advertising expense. Now with advertising, also, if your advertising is high, but your sales are not satisfying, if your advertising is high, your sales must also be high. But if your sales are low, but your advertising is high, that is a problem. So what are we saying here? Low sales, but high advertising. So this is a problem. How do you solve it now? You would have to look for effective ways of advertising. Maybe you are spending so much on advertising, maybe on TV, your customers maybe do not watch TV. So you need to change your advertising method. You look at your target market, you advertise in a platform that is relevant to your target market. If you're selling products for younger people, then you would know that you must advertise on social media. If you're selling products for pensioners, for older people, you know that you don't advertise in social media, because majority of adults, as we all know, that our grandfathers are not really active on social media, even though they are part of the social media platform, but they are not as active as us as young people. Okay. Right, moving on, rent expense can also be a problem where you find that the amount of rent is higher compared to other stores or other branches. This could also be a problem. So what do? You look for a cheaper business premises. So this is very important. And then you'll find that also there's a problem related to your cash sales and your credit sales. Remember, cash sales being less than credit sales. This is a problem. Cash sales cannot be lower than credit sales. It should be higher than the credit sales. So cash sales must always be more. So high cash sales, low credit sales. If you see that on the branches you are dealing with, there is high cash sales, or I mean a high credit sales, then you must know it's a problem. But someone may ask, why is that a problem? Because high credit sales results to bad debt. We put ourselves at a risk. So can be at a risk. A risk of what? Of bad debt. Okay, meaning, what do I mean? Some people may decide not to pay you, so now you will experience huge losses because you are selling too much on credit, and it's very expensive to collect at times to troublesome debtors. Now, solution there, we can say we encourage cash sales by giving discounts to only those who are buying for cash. We can give discounts, give specials to only those who are buying for cash. Okay. Now, grade 12s, I hope you have got the table of these types of problems now. We are now going to look at an activity where I am going to test whether you were really listening to problem solving table. So the types of problems. Now we are looking at the activity extracted from the trial exam 2022 Mpumalanga paper. Okay, trial exam from Mpumalanga 2022. Now let's get ready. I would love every learner to really practice and write the problems. I'll give you a chance to look at the problems, and then we discuss, we look at the problems, we look at the possible problems. Now, this is what we have here. The business have branches operating in different plazas at Akenhoek, Emelo, and Thonga Plaza. Now, they are staying here, although Mbalu Fagude allows the branch managers to generally make their own decisions. She has implemented division of duties, implemented cameras, implemented internal auditing as a control measure in this branch. Meaning, this owner would say has accounting knowledge, because he has talked about division of duties, cameras are there, internal auditing is there, but there is still a problem. How do we solve such a problem? Here we are problem solvers. This is a very nice topic. Please, when you get your paper, please prioritize this. Do not leave a space here, because we have seen that most learners, they skip this part because they think it's difficult. This is very easy. Let us see if we are going to be enjoying this topic. Now, let us look at this. Can you identify problems before we go too far? What are the problems you are seeing here for now? What are the problems we are seeing here? Let's see. Akenhoek Plaza, Emelo Plaza, Thonga Plaza. We have our first problem, credit sales. Can you see the credit sales? Thonga Plaza has the highest credit sales. It is a lot, 2,400. But the other, they have only 800 and 1,980. Okay? Now again, units sold, Akonhook has the lowest number of units sold. This is some of the things we must have in our mind, back of our minds. We are going to be talking about this. Please write them down so that you don't lose focus on what we are about to do now. Akonhook has the lowest number of units sold. Credit sales for Thonga is the highest. Okay? We have seen some of our problems. Let's look at the next one. What are we seeing here? There is credit sales 800. So here on Akonhook, there is 800 credit sales. Here on Thonga Plaza, 2,400 credit sales. Here at Thonga Plaza, 1,980. Now, let us look at this now. Remember, there was one type of a problem where we are comparing cash sales and credit sales. Now, let us look at what is happening. If you look at Thonga has higher credit, as we have said earlier on. The credit sales are 2,400, but cash sales are only 600. This is a problem. Low cash sales, but high credit sales. Let us just note it down. Now let us look at this very interesting. I've talked about this a little. Online shopping. What is online shopping? It is a point where a customer is able to call you and say, I want 3 calculators, and then I've requested them online, and then you also process them online and deliver them to a customer. There is online shopping. Now, what is the problem again here? There is no online shopping for Thonga and Akonhook. You see, Thonga Plaza is selling 750 items because of online. The other branches, they don't have. We don't know why, because online shopping is a way to go these days. Now, closing stock. What is wrong with our closing stock? Thonga has the biggest. Remember, one of our problems, the first problem we discussed, it emanated from the closing stock. It is arising from the closing stock, meaning this is also a problem for Thonga. What about the selling price? Everyone is having the same selling price. So this shouldn't be a problem. It was going to be a problem if there was one business having the highest selling price. Okay? Now, cash deposited from cash sales. How do we prove this because we need to check if these amounts are indeed correct. How do I do it? Now, for me to do it, I need to take the number sold multiplied by the selling price. Let us see. For Akonhook now, what am I going to do? I'm going to take the cash sales, which is 1,000. Let's check if we are missing anything on the other side. So here we are not total units sold, it's 2,800, 300, and then 800 is for credit sales. Now let us look at this now. Let us do our calculation together. Please have your calculator. We take the cash sales unit is 1,500 multiplied by the selling price of 850. So it's 1,500, which is the cash sales, as you can see, multiplied by the selling price. And then what do we get for Akonuk? We get 1,275,000. But now, how much is recorded there? Very interesting. They were supposed to record 1,275,000. But how much did they record? Let us look at this. Very, very interesting. They recorded how much? 1,235,000. Meaning that these amounts are not the same. There's something wrong here. Something fishy. Now, what is the difference here? There is 1,235,000 minus this. What do we get now? 1,235,000. Then we have 40,000 missing cash. There is an amount of 40,000 that is missing here. Hey, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. I don't think that some of these sales assistants are earning this much. So there's a problem here. Can we see? How did I do it? I've taken number of units sold for cash, which is 1,500, multiplied by selling price per unit. Then I got 1,275,000. Then from there, I compare it with the amount already deposited. Then I get a difference of 40,000. So this is an amount missing. Let us do Emelo Plaza to see if there is anything missing under Emelo Plaza. Now Emelo Plaza. Okay, right. For Emelo Plaza, what we are going to be doing, we are going to be doing the same thing again. Number of units. So number of units. For Emelo Plaza, this is what I want you to do. I need you to calculate missing. I'm going to give you just a minute for you to calculate missing. Okay? Just 1 minute.
I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. Number 1, what do I want? Do I want to become an A student or do I want to become an average student? Number 2, I want you to ask yourself, how do you plan on getting there? Are you going to put more extra hours or are you going to just sleep? Number 3, who will be with you in this journey? Because it is important that we associate ourselves with students who have the same vision as us, who want to become a student, who want to put in the extra work, who want to become better at what they do. Unsuccessful people do not plan. They just let life happen to them. But successful people are planning on how they want their lives to be. And right now, you plan on how you want your results at the end of the year to be like.
Great ups, welcome back. Where were we? What were we doing? Remember, we were trying to calculate the cash deposited from sales. We are looking at MLO. MLO, they've sold the cash sales as 600. These are the number of units. And then we multiply by 850, which is our selling price. So this is our cash sales unit, meaning the number. And then let's see how much are we getting. 600 times by 850. We get how much? 510. This is the same, meaning no missing cash because they are the same. So nothing is missing. We can also prove with Thonga Plaza. What is happening with Thonga Plaza there? Let me repeat. MLO. We say cash sales units of 600 multiplied by the selling price of 850. And then we get 510,000. Meaning there is no unit missing. Okay? There is no amount deposited missing. I beg your pardon. And then looking at Thonga. Thonga, we are also going to do the same thing. Just remove everything. I have Thonga. Thonga, how many units are there? We have cash sales of 2,570 multiplied by 850. Remember here, we also have the 750, which will also form part of the of the cash, 2,570 plus 750 times by 850. And then also you are going to get the amount of those cash sales. So with that one, for us to save time, we are just going to skip that. Then let us look at our next part. Right, on our next part now, we are going to be looking at what could be other problems faced by the three branches. Okay, but as we do that, we are going to just take a minute for you to digest everything that we have been doing. Just 1 minute. Right, now grade 12s, let us look at what we've been doing. Remember, we talked about the cash sales, the online shopping, the closing stock as a problem, the cash deposited, meaning we have found problems under all of these items. We find problems under our cash sales, our online shopping not being available in the two branches, problem under closing stock, problem under the sales, the cash deposited. Now let's look at the next part. Now, the advertising. You find that there's advertising problem with the other branches. Thonga is advertising a lot. That's why they are making a lot of sales. The other two branches are not advertising a lot. That is why their sales are a little bit lower. Now, but the problem is also the rent expense. The rent expense for Thonga Plaza is very high. It's also another problem that we need to look at. Another problem that we're also finding, Emelo Plaza is only operating for only 5 days, whereas Thonga operates for 7 days. Thonga operates for 7 days and is making more sales. Emelo is operating for 5 days, it means it's making less sales. And then again, shop assistants, there are only 2 shop assistants under Emelo, meaning there's not enough people to advertise, to deal with sales and all of that under Emelo. But under Thonga, they have a lot of shop assistants, so they are doing well because of that. So these are some of the problems we are seeing. So problems are under days work, shop assistants, as well as the rent expense. Now, let us look at these problems now. It says, mention one additional control measure that Mbali could consider to improve controls in the branches. Now, what can this person do? Can encourage customers to pay using EFT to ensure that there is no missing cash deposited. Introduce online shopping to the other branches. Remember, there are other branches that do not have online shopping. Also, make it a policy to check or to do regular banking to avoid the rolling of cash. Remember, the concept rolling of cash is what you know under bank reconciliation, where someone will use, where a worker will use money of the business without permission and then later replace the money. That is rolling of cash. Now, second question, we must identify 2 problems. Already we have done this. Identify 2 problems with figures or calculations relating to Emelo Plaza branch and provide, meaning we are looking at Emelo. Already we have identified the problems that happened under Emelo Plaza. What are we having there under Emelo Plaza? Let us look at that. We are saying that the credit sales are very high compared to total sales. You can write 80% or write the amount of credit sales. So you would say credit sales are an amount. Let us see how much do we have for credit sales there. For credit sales, we have an amount of 2,400. So how did we get the 80%? We looked at our total sales. So we said 2,400 divided by 3,000 times by 100 over 1. 2,400 divided by 3,000 times 100. Then we got 80%. So 80% is now our credit sales. So 80% is our credit sales. That is a problem we have with this branch. So this is the 80%. So how did you get the 80%? 2,400 divided by 3,000 times by 100. And then also under Emelo, remember we've established that they are only working for 5 days. But at Thonga, they are working for 7 days. And then in the other branch, they are working for 6 days. Meaning they may not be working over the weekends. Right. Now, what would be the solution for us? We give discounts on cash sales. Remember, this is one thing that we talked about when we were discussing problems. And then we charge interest on credit sales. And then also we ensure that we work for 7 or 6 days. There are only 2 shop assistants. It's also another problem that they are facing. They need to increase the number of shopping assistants to the reservable number that is there under Thonga Plaza. Okay. Now, next item, we also have this one now. List 3 decisions taken by Vanessa. 3 decisions taken by Vanessa, the manager of Thonga Plaza. What are they doing right? Let us look at this table and see what are they doing right. Number 1, these guys are working for 7 days. This is something good. That is why they are prospering. That is why they are successful compared to the other. Because what is it that led them to better results? It's because they are working for 7 days. Number 2, they have spent more on advertising. If you can check the advertising, it's at 16,200. This is why their total units sold are 4,550, which is higher than the 3,000 of the other branch, as well as the amount of the other branch. Okay. Then the next one, they are also offering online facility. People are able to shop online. This is what is working for them. You see here, you can identify problems. Also, you can come up with good things happening. Okay. Now, next one, also, they have employed 6 shop assistants. I hope you get that correct. There are 6 shop assistants. Now, let us look at our tangible assets. We are done with our inventories now. What could be the problems or that may emanate from tangible assets? Remember, tomorrow you are also may be required to discuss or answer questions under the management of tangible assets. So this is tangible assets. Right. Now, what are these problems that we may see under tangible asset? Let us look at them. Problems may arise from the date of purchase. Maybe this asset was bought long ago in 2000, year 2000. That asset is no longer in a good state. It is old. Sometimes you'll find that the carrying value is very low. This is a problem also. An asset with the lowest carrying value, it means it is old. You'll find that sometimes the product is not insured. No insurance. It's also a problem. You'll find that another problem is that these tangible assets, they consume a lot of petrol or a lot of diesel. So high consumption of fuel. This could be a problem. Again, another problem may arise from high maintenance. Now, normally, the products or the vehicles or assets that are old, you will have to spend a lot of money trying to maintain them, trying to repair them and all of that. Also, sometimes the problem may be in the kilometers. The one with the highest kilometers but less deliveries, less sales, then it could be a problem. But high kilometers with high deliveries and high sales is good. But high kilometers but low deliveries, it's a problem. Okay, right. So kilometers are compared to the number of deliveries and the amount of sales it brings. Now, these are types of the problems. You will find that there's a driver working for fewer days but receives the same amount or is being paid higher. This could also be a problem under the movable assets or the the vehicles. So these are problems we find under our vehicles. What are we going to do to solve this problem? You can just investigate the reason for the absence and also pay them according to the number of days they've worked. Again, we can compare the kilometers and the number of deliveries. You'll find that some are traveling for more, but they are making fewer deliveries. There is a problem. So meaning you look at the number of kilometers compared to the amount of deliveries made. You'll find that they are traveling for 500 kilometers, but they only made 2 deliveries. There is someone traveling for 200 kilometers and making 10 deliveries. So we need to check. That can also be as a result of an unauthorized use of the vehicles. That is why the kilometers may be higher. What are you going to do? You control the use of vehicles. How do you control it? When people come and take the drivers come and take the car, will sign the amount of kilometers on the clock of the vehicle. When they return it back, they also sign. You can also give them petrol cards to use to minimize them traveling more. Install a tracker on these vehicles to ensure that they do not travel for more than required. And also discipline the driver if a driver is using the vehicle for personal use. And then other problems can arise from the petrol consumption. Sometimes you'll find that other vehicles are consuming a lot of fuel. They may consume a lot of fuel because they are traveling for more kilometers than allowed to travel. Some they consume more because the asset is just old. So you can consider replacing or tracking the route traveled by that particular vehicle. Then the next one could talk about the maintenance cost. Now, with the maintenance cost, if it's too high, then it's a problem. It can be too high because the vehicle is old again. So what do? You may consider disposing or replacing the vehicle since it is expensive to now maintain. Another problem that you may find may come from the carrying value. If the carrying value is already at 1 rand, it means it has reached its useful life. It is now old. Meaning, if the carrying value is low, then you would be advised to dispose the asset. And then other problems may arise from the date of purchase. Sometimes the average number of trips per day, the insurance that is not there, if the asset is not covered, can also be a problem because if it can be involved in an accident or stolen, then we won't have money to pay for that. Right, now we are going to look at an activity quickly for our management of fixed assets or tangible assets. Okay, now we have this information now. Kobus has 3 delivery vehicles and employs 3 drivers to transport goods to his customers free of charge. The drivers are expected to work 5 days per week. This is the number of days that they are expected to work. There are 4 weeks in February. Some customers live close by while others live further away. Now, none of the customers live more than 20 kilometers from the shop. Maximum round trip should be 40 kilometers round trip. And then also information from the accounting records for February 2021 is as follows. Now we have the name of the 3 drivers. We have Leroy, we have Fred, and we have Peggy. Now, this is the date of purchase. Now, from the date of purchase, you can see. Remember, we said one of the problems could be on the date of purchase. Now, which date is the oldest here? We find that this is the oldest. So this is the problem. That vehicle number 3 is old. The date of purchase is dating back to 2012. You can count how many years from 2012 to 2021 based on the accounting period. Also, another problem we see, remember I said the one with the lowest carrying value of 1 rand, it's a problem. So I'm circling all the problems here. Number of days the driver worked. Who worked less days? It is Leroy. But who gets the highest salary? It is also Leroy. This is a problem. Leroy is only working for 12 days, but is earning 8,000. The other two drivers, which is Fred and Peggy, are working for 20 days, but only earning a mere 5,000 rand, 5,000 rand. So they are earning less for working more days. It's not fair. So this is a problem. And then let's look at other problems. You see also this person is also making fewer deliveries. Leroy worked for 12 days and is only making 48 deliveries. Lowest deliveries is also a problem. And then average trips made per day, it's only 4 trips and 4 trips for the two, but the other one is making 6 trips, a lot. And then kilometers traveled, we have the second driver, driver 2, traveling for more. This is a problem because this person is not bringing enough, not making enough deliveries, but is traveling. And we have the driver 3 is only traveling for 3,000 kilometers, but is making more deliveries. But driver 2 is not giving the business a lot of deliveries, but traveling more. Now, average number of kilometers. We also see that vehicle number 2 is making a lot. So everything I'm circling, this is what you do when you write your exam. You circle the problems and then it becomes easy for you to discuss. Now, another problem here, petrol used. As we can see, vehicle number 2 is using a lot of petrol compared to the other drivers. So the liters used here are so much. And then kilometers per liter. If you can check here, this is using only 14. It's also a problem that you may be facing. And then the petrol cost per kilometer or per liter is too high here, 2,421. Now, petrol cost per kilometer also, because this vehicle number 3 is old, so it consumes more petrol per liter, petrol per kilometer. So these are the problems now. Already we have circled all our problems. Now let us they said here identify one problem regarding each vehicle or driver. Now, what is the problem with Leroy? Already we have discussed, he has been absent for 8 days. But he's the highest paid driver. That is the problem. Now, what do? You only pay for the number of days at work, or you investigate the reasons why the person was absent. And then you can even give leave without pay. Vehicle number 2, problems, they are traveling for too many kilometers. Already we've established this. It is higher than the maximum number of kilometers. Remember, they said it must be 40 kilometers per customer, but they are making 58 per customer. Now, he's traveling for more than Peggy. So he's traveling but he's doing fewer trips, deliveries. More kilometers traveled. Remember, when you answer this question, don't forget to put in a figure. And then what do? You also investigate the unauthorized use of the vehicle. You also put a tracker, so you can install a tracker to check where is the person going. Give the person a petrol card to use to monitor so that the person doesn't spend a lot of petrol. Okay. Now, vehicle number 3, what is the problem with this? This is doing more trips. But the problem is that the vehicle is old. And also they are spending more per trip. It's 0.81 per trip. What do? You can consider replacing. That is the advice that you can give there. Now we're moving on to the next one now. We are looking at a FIFO calculation. This is what I wanted to highlight with you, that sometimes you may be asked to calculate closing stock using FIFO. Can we look at this quick? examples. So we are now touching in different topics for you to be ready. Calculate the value of closing stock for cabinets on 30 September 2019 using first in, first out. Now, how do you do that? Let us see. First of all, you need to know how many units are you left with. How many are we left with? We are going to check. Remember, we are doing for cabinets. Now we check the closing stock. This is our closing stock. We are left with 280 units. Now, when you start doing FIFO calculating closing stock, you always start from the bottom and then you go up. This is just a quick revision. Now, let us check how many units did we have there at the bottom. We had 250. But on the 250, there are returns of what? Of 20. So we say 250 minus 20. Then we are remaining with 230. Now we say 230 multiplied by the cost price. Meaning here it's no longer 250, but it's 230. Multiplied by 1,100. Then we get 253,000. Now we are not done, meaning here we subtract 230, we are now left with 50. Where are we getting 50 now? We move up. Get 50 from part of the 1,200. So meaning from the 1,200, not everything was sold. We sold and then we didn't sell the 50. So meaning here, the one we are going to use now will be 50 multiplied by 990. We get 49,500. And then our total becomes 302,500. Okay, that is how we get closing stock using FIFO. Just wanted to highlight this part because for some learners, this becomes a problem. Please do revise this item. Right. Now we are looking at this. Remember, you may also be required to do factory overheads here. The following costs were extracted from the records on 30 April. Water and electricity, 81,000. They are saying 15% of the total water and electricity account must be allocated to the dressmaking section. Just a reminder, a quick reminder, how did we calculate this? Remember, I would say the amount we are given, which is 81,600, and then we say multiply by 15 all over 100. Then let's see how much do we get here. 81,600 multiplied by 15%. Then we get 12,240. Okay, so meaning under factory overhead note, we will record 12,240. That is 81,600 multiplied by 15 over 100. Okay. Sometimes it may happen that you are given 12,240 and you are looking for the other items. Then don't forget to use the formula which says amount given times the percentage you are looking for or the ratio you are looking for over the ratio you are given or the percentage you are given. Okay, I wanted to highlight some of these items. Now, you need to know how to draw the format of the production cost statement. If you remember, how do we do format of the production cost statement? We say direct material cost plus direct labor cost. This gives us our prime cost, and then we add our factory overhead. I hope you are writing the format with me. And then this will give us what? Total manufacturing cost. And then from there, we are going to add our work in process. at the beginning, and then we'll get our answer. We now subtract our work in process or progress at the end. Okay, now we are going to get our total cost of production of finished goods. Please refer to the presentation we had, or the video lesson we had on the 6th of May. We were discussing manufacturing or cost accounting. We talked about a lot of items. Please refer to that for you to revise cost accounting. Again, you need to know the format of the abridged income statement, which is our sales less our cost of sales, which gives us our gross profit less our administration cost less our selling and distribution cost, and then from there, remember, we are going to get a total of our other costs, and then we get our net profit. How do we get our net profit? Gross profit minus other costs. This was also covered in the lesson we had on the 6th of May. Right, now grade 12s, we have come to the end of our lesson. Thank you for watching this video lesson. Please see you next time. Ensure that you study hard, and ensure that you go back and think of the topics you have done in term 2, and then you prepare well. You use your materials. You must know your formats, know all the important calculations, know all the valuation methods calculations, and many other things. Thank you so much. Goodbye.